Hello and welcome to Mike's Garage. And this is Mike's Garage. Makes me very happy to be here. Now, if you've already subscribed to our channel, I thank you very much. If you haven't, please do. And when you do, be sure and tap the little like button maybe. And also tap on the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time we put up a new video. Why I get tongue-tied on that is beyond me, but I do. Anyway, we did the Born Free show, which was great. I hope everybody got to see our video on that. It is up if you have not seen it yet. It says we made it to Born Free, and we had a ball. The bikes were magnificent, the people were magnificent, the music was magnificent. It was a wonderful, wonderful show and a wonderful time. The bikes were really something. It's so neat to be in a place where there's thousands and thousands of motorcycles and thousands of people having fun. It just doesn't get any better. We had a great time. What else did I want to say? You know, we do have our new website up, and it's under pacificmike.com. And if you're looking at our YouTube homepage, you can click on it. It's right on our homepage. If you're just getting into the computer and you just want to find it, all you have to do is type in pacificmike.com. And we've got a gallery and a few little things in there we're getting started with. If you're interested in our shirts, this all in the upper right-hand corner of that website, just click on Shirt Store, and that'll take you right to our shirts, which is I think they're cool. I hope you like them. Anyway, I've had a whole lot of inquiries, and rightly so, I understand, on this Flathead, which was my Flathead project I was working on that I stopped working on about a year ago. Why just stop? Well, everything else needed attention. And when everything needs attention, it gets attention. I had promised my dog the sidecar. That's one of the things I wanted to do. Well, that didn't end very well. I'm putting that on hold for a while because in taking out the sidecar and trying to get used to it, I forgot I was riding with a sidecar on it and managed to sideswipe a car, which made me feel pretty stupid, and I had to apologize for all of that. Luckily, my insurance covered it. But it was my fault. This lady did absolutely nothing to deserve any of this. Anyway, and a lot of other things I've needed to do. And I've been doing them all. I'm trying to keep everything caught up because building this bike, to me, it's like playtime. It's like doing something purely for fun. I'm not building this as a bike to show. I'm building this as a bike to play with and ride and have fun with. And it's going to be great. So what I thought I would do is start with a little recap on this project, show what we did up to the point where we stopped, and that puts us all on the same page, and I can talk about the plans and what's to come. Well, basically, I started with this raw frame. This frame was straightened for me and done up for me a long time ago, and it just hung from the ceiling here in the garage for years. And so what this is basically is the mock-up. This is a transmission that I rebuilt for this bike quite a while back, and it's been all rebuilt and sitting in a box, and I mounted it in the frame. And let's see, I got the brake linkage all hooked up for the rear brake and rear wheel. Now, this is probably, I have a new wheel for this I'm going to put on it. And I think I'm going to get a new brake drum. And so once this thing is all mocked up and finished doing, then it can be knocked down again, taken all apart, and the frame painted, which I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with the frame. I think I'm going to put just a really, really tough black paint on it. There are some developments in paints now that are better than we've ever had before. But I learned my lesson with my knucklehead. I prefer the frame to be black regardless of the color of the sheet metal. It's a whole lot easier to keep clean. I ride the knucklehead and then it just looks so dirty and I can spend days cleaning it. If I do this with a black frame and whatever I decide to paint the sheet metal, there will be no arguments because the final decision is mine. Anyway, so that's what I did. I had already mounted the oil tank, and I had the front end straightened by Dr. John's in Anaheim, California. They're frame straighteners, and they straightened this VL Springer front end that I have here, which this is one of my all-time favorite front ends. This is early 1930s Harley Davidson VL Springer front end. And then I had off knucklehead setup, I had this front brake, and I modified it to fit everything here. That fit, and I had to make a brake link here, which I cut, and had Nathan over at Turner's Customs weld it together so that all of this fits and lines up and works well together. I got all of that done. I had this brass headlight that an old customer gave me years ago that is a Unity headlight, and I got a hold of the Unity factory in the Midwest, and they still had the original bracket for that light. So I got that bracket, which stands the headlight there. And then I bought a big chunk of brass and whacked this piece out of brass by hand and made a bracket. These are brass or bronze, whatever kind of alloy they are, which I got at a swap meet years ago. So I'm just there are more brass doodads to go on this bike. This was kind of an experiment. This is a reproduction of the 1940 and earlier brake lever, and I have a real one up there on the wall that I'll be using when I do the final build. Let's see, I also, going back a little further, I did manage to get the heel toe rocker clutch assembly on here, and that's all working good. What else? I guess getting the oil tank mounted also did that, and I built a Kickstarter for it, which we did a video on. So that's pretty much what we did. The next things are, I will get into the motor in the next video, but what we'll be able to do is pretty much do a dummy assembly of the motor, get this thing on a trailer, and probably get it over, it'll be Turner's Customs. I'll get it over to them. They're in Yucaipa, California, and they're going to do the work on these tanks. These are VL tanks, Harley Davidson VL tanks out of the 1930s, and we're going to do some very, very strange and rude things to them to make them become the shape and make them do what I want them to do. They're going to be cool. I'll be the first on my block with a set like them. A lot of people may have used VL tanks, but these will be a little different. And this is the rear fender, which we did a video on me brazing up the extra holes in it, which I never did quite finish. So I'll get back into that. The reason we're going to have to put a mocked up motor in here is to get the right look with the fuel tanks. Not everyone realizes all of these old bikes, the motors are smaller than the modern motors. The frames are smaller. And if you look at any of the old choppers or bobbers or any of those things back in the day, the way I learned to build bikes is you would always build the bike with the frame showcasing the motor. And that's why so many bikes have such little gas tanks. We don't want to look at a gas tank, we want to look at the motor. So this motor, being a flathead, it's not real tall. So even though these are very large tanks, we'll be able to see the top of this motor in there. It's going to look good. It says here in fine print. And I'll be fitting the toolbox on it. We did do a video where we fitted the exhaust pipes to this bike. We do have reverse cone megaphone upsweeps. And let's see, I also did that front wheel. I laced that wheel on one of the videos. But I think that covers pretty much where we're at on this thing. It's coming along. We're going to get back into it. I just wanted to, again, stop, touch base on where we're at so we can go from here. So basically, that's it for now. I just want to say that in our next video, we're gonna look the motor over again and figure out what we're going to do with it next, because I want to get started on that motor in the worst way. Because once the motor's done, the rest of it's kind of a piece of cake. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So until then, we'll see you out on the road.